Good news for BRVM investors. This week, the stock market moved higher again, and this time, the signal is important. The BRVM Composite crossed the 420-point zone, a symbolic level that confirms the market's positive momentum remains strong among major listed companies. Welcome to Markets Talk, the Daba Finance podcast that helps you understand what is moving across African markets in a simple and practical way. For the week of May 18 to 22, three major messages stood out. First, BRVM indexes ended the week higher. Second, several major stocks delivered strong gains, supported by earnings, dividends, and renewed investor confidence. Third, the bond market consolidated, but trading activity remained significant on selected sovereign bonds. Let's begin with the indexes. The BRVM Composite rose 2.03% to close at 421.02 points. This is the broadest index of the market. It gives investors a general picture of the direction of the regional exchange. When it rises, it means the overall value of listed companies is increasing. The BRVM 30 also gained 1.57%, ending the week at 197.61 points. The BRVM Prestige advanced 1.81% to 164.10 points. And the BRVM Principal recorded the strongest index performance, rising 2.95% to 297.56 points. The key takeaway is that the market did not rise because of only one or two isolated stocks. 30 stocks ended the week higher, while 15 declined and 2 were unchanged. In simple terms, buyers dominated the market. More investors wanted to buy than sell. That is often a sign of confidence. But there is one important point to watch. Trading volumes declined. 3,981,403 shares changed hands, compared with 5,372,715 shares the previous week. Total transaction value also fell, reaching 6,998.2 million CFA francs, compared with 7,126.9 million CFA francs the week before. So prices are rising, but trading activity is slightly weaker. For investors, this means the mood is positive, but discipline remains important. A market rally becomes even stronger when rising prices are supported by high trading volumes. Now let's look at the top stocks of the week. The big winner was CIE Côte d'Ivoire. The stock jumped 22.80% to close at 4,040 CFA francs. This rally followed the publication of strong annual results. The company reported net income of 13.127 billion CFA francs for the 2025 financial year. Why does this matter? Because on a market like the BRVM, investors pay close attention to companies that show solid profits, stable operations, and the ability to pay dividends. CIE sent that signal to the market. In second place, NSIA Banque Côte d'Ivoire rose 20% to reach 18,000 CFA francs for the week. The banking sector remains one of the main engines of the regional market. Banks attract investors because they benefit from economic growth, lending activity, payments, and savings. When banks publish good results or show strong momentum, they often become highly followed stocks. The third major gainer of the week was Tractafric Motors Côte d'Ivoire, which rose 13.94% to close at 4,210 CFA francs. This movement shows that investors are not only looking at banks or telecom companies. They are also paying attention to businesses connected to consumption, equipment, vehicles, and real economic activity. In terms of market activity, Sonatel Senegal remained the most active stock of the week. The company recorded about 198.2 million CFA francs in transactions, representing more than 17% of total market activity. Sonatel remains a reference stock on the regional exchange because it combines size, liquidity, a dividend history, and strong visibility. For investors, liquidity matters. It means that it is easier to buy or sell a stock without moving the price too sharply. On the downside, Safka Côte d'Ivoire fell 7.27% to 3,700 CFA francs. This decline looks like profit-taking after a previous strong rally. BOA Benin also declined 4.79% to 8,950 CFA francs. CFAO Côte d'Ivoire fell 4.50% to 1,485 CFA francs. This is not necessarily a sign of panic. In a rising market, some investors sell part of their positions to lock in gains. This is called consolidation. Another important development was the BRVM Composite moving above 420 points during the week. The market even closed one session at 421.55 points. above its previous peak of 418.63 points reached in March. This record matters. It shows that large-cap stocks, especially banks, telecoms, and selected income stocks, are supporting the trend. But for this movement to continue, investors will need to watch three things: corporate earnings, dividend announcements, and trading volumes. This week also brought an important development for African integration. Togo removed visa requirements for African nationals for stays of up to 30 days. This is an economic measure as much as a mobility measure. Why? Because entrepreneurs, investors, consultants, and traders need to move easily across borders. Fewer barriers can mean more business meetings, more trade, more regional services, and more opportunities for Lomé to position itself as a West African hub. Now let's turn to the bond market. This week, the bond segment consolidated. Its capitalization declined 2.01% to 12,040.2 billion CFA francs. This means the total value of listed bonds decreased, but activity remained meaningful, with 400,093 securities traded for a total value of 3,494,510,605 CFA francs. Most of the trading was concentrated in the Senegal government bond paying 6.60% 5-year, with 150,000 securities traded for a total amount of 1,292,500,000 CFA francs. This single bond represented more than 42% of the total value traded in the bond market. What this means for investors is simple. Sovereign bonds remain attractive when they offer appealing yields and good visibility on repayment. Among the bond opportunities monitored for the coming week, several lines show interesting yields to maturity. For example, TPCI 6% 8-year shows a yield to maturity of 48.86%, with a closing price of 9,200 CFA francs. TPCI 5.80% 7-year shows a yield to maturity of 8.97%. Some bonds linked to FCTC Senelec or the state of Senegal also offer yields above 7%. For a cautious investor, bonds can play a different role from stocks. They are often used to seek more predictable income through coupons. A coupon is the interest paid by a bond. Now let's talk about dividends. And here too, there is good news. The dividend table shows a very active season. 29 companies out of 47 have announced or are expected to pay a dividend. The average yield stands at 5.21%. Some of the companies already confirmed include BOA Burkina, BOA Côte d'Ivoire, BOA Benin, BOA Mali, Sonatel, BOA Senegal, Onatel, Ecobank Côte d'Ivoire, Orange Côte d'Ivoire, and Sikable. Other companies such as SOGB, SGCI, SAPH, Palm Côte d'Ivoire, Total Senegal, BC, Solibra, CIE, and Nestlé also appear in the dividend calendar with different yield levels. For investors, dividends are essential. They represent a portion of a company's profits paid back to shareholders. On the BRVM, dividends can represent a major part of total return. A stock can therefore make you money in two ways: through an increase in its price and through the dividend received. To access the full dividend calendar, payment dates, yields, and the companies concerned, download the Daba app. It is one of the easiest ways to follow opportunities and avoid missing important dates. And to go even further, there is Daba Pro. Daba Pro is the premium subscription that helps you better understand the markets, receive weekly recommendations, access detailed analysis, benefit from exclusive data, and reduce your investment fees. This week, opportunities exist, but they require selectivity. Some stocks remain well-positioned compared with their target prices. Some bonds still offer interesting yields, but the best choices depend on your profile, your time horizon, and your risk tolerance. The specific names of the opportunities for the week are reserved for Daba Pro subscribers. And for those who want to learn more before investing, Daba Academy is here. It is our learning program designed to help you understand the stock market, stocks, bonds, dividends, risks, and how to build long-term wealth. Right now, there is a special promotion for Markets Talk listeners. Use the code PODCAST and get a 3,000 XOF discount on your Daba Academy registration. Looking ahead to the coming week, opportunities will likely appear in three areas: stocks supported by strong earnings, income stocks approaching dividend payments, and bonds offering an attractive balance between yield, maturity, and issuer quality. But, as always, do not chase the rally blindly. Analyze, compare, and diversify. To receive weekly recommendations, access exclusive analysis, and reduce your investment fees, subscribe to Daba Pro. With Daba Pro, you do not simply follow the markets, you stay ahead of them. This was your weekly market recap with Markets Talk, the podcast by Daba Finance. I am your markets editor, always connected to the pulse of Francophone Africa. See you soon. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay invested.